Hey guys, today we make the jump to 2-point perspective. 2-point perspective requires an understanding. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does require an understanding of 1-point perspective. So if any time you're feeling a little bit confused, feel free to go back and look at one of those older videos to maybe reinforce your understanding of 1-point perspective. A lot of times when you're learning, you think you understand something, and it's not that you're being honest with yourself. You're like, oh yeah, I get this. But when you have to extend, you kind of realize maybe there's something you missed. So learning is cyclical, okay? Like you get to a point where you think that you've mastered a skill, and then as you grow, you realize, oh, there's something I gotta go back and iron out. So if you have those wrinkles in your learning, I don't want you to worry, because everyone does, especially something as tricky yet rewarding as drawing. So today we're going to break into 2-point perspective. We're just going to work with some boxes, which I almost said some simple forms, but nothing about this is simple, but it is accessible and it is doable. So I hope you enjoy the demo, and thank you so much for all your hard work. We're approaching the end. We're close. So enjoy the demo, and I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, so we are going to expand into 2-point perspective. And maybe it would be good to start with a little bit of review. So a little bit of terminology. Just we're working with planes, okay? And a plane can look like a shape, all right? But the key difference is shapes, they have height, and they have width. All right, just 2 dimensions. We'll put the 2D, 2 dimensions, height and width, and that's fine. Okay, it's cool to have just height and width. You can make a lot of great drawings with just shapes. The difference is, though, that a form has height and width. That's a height line. That's a width line, and then it has also in a drawing the illusion of depth. And this is a bit of a cheat because it doesn't really have depth. It has the illusion of it. And then I'm going to switch to the thin tip, and I'm going to draw through my drawing because I want to have such a good understanding of what I'm drawing that I am including even the parts that aren't there. When you're working with something that is 3D, all right, 3D, I'm doing the air quotes, 3D, you have height, you have width, and then you have the illusion of depth. All right, this is drawn in the isometric perspective, or it's an oblique projection if you want to call it that. So all 3 of these rays are parallel. When we drew in 1-point perspective, we drew our first plane, so our flat surface. And then to simulate the effect of things getting smaller as they go back in space, we set a vanishing point and drew the rays converging towards the vanishing point. All right. We didn't use direct perspective because there's too much distortion. I want you to notice something. Right here, this line and this line aren't jiving with this guy right here. You got to have like a balance. Let me show you the correct line. So it's got to be, think of it like I did a few weeks ago. Think of it like you have a clock, okay? And you have 12 noon, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And each, like this is like, you know, the arms of the clock, and they swing. This right here is, it's not jiving, so let's change it, like that. Pick up this parallel line, pick up this parallel line, and we'll drop a parallel line in here. This you can kind of cheat in because sometimes your planes are not correct. We have a ton of visual information here, so let me go back in and let me maybe if I just do the first contour, let's see if that's enough for our viewer, you, to maybe make a little more sense of my line work. So there we go. So that's pretty good. First contour helps. Let's drop in those second contour lines. Oh yeah, much more better. There we go. So there is my 1-point perspective cue. 2-point perspective, once you have an understanding of 1-point perspective, is really not that threatening. So a drawing could theoretically have infinite vanishing points. Infinite points. Like if you were to draw a human being, like your hand, if you were to simplify each of my fingers to like 1, 2, 3 cubes, and then the palm would be a wedge shape, I mean, they point, like that's why hands are so tough, is because there's those millions of vanishing points. So you don't typically draw hands in perspective, you take a more observational approach. But there are times when you'll have more than one vanishing point. Remember that we're not just drawing boxes, okay? They are boxes, but what they really are is 1, 2, 3, this is the back one, 4, this is the bottom one, 5, 6 flat surfaces. There's 6 flat surfaces in space, so my hands, flat surfaces. They're coming together, okay? So you have flat surfaces, planes, and then you have right here where 2 planes meet, that's an edge. And where 6 planes, or however many planes you use, enclose a space, that's a form. Mr. Seidel, how could you have less than 6 planes create a form? Well, maybe, and this is a little further down the road, but if you were to draw a cylinder has 1, and then that one that we can't see is 2, and then this guy right here, that's like 1 plane. So you can make a form with 3 surfaces. If you did a sphere, it would only be 1 surface. There's no edges. 2-point perspective. I like to set my vanishing points on a horizon line. I think that it gives the paper a little more context. Remember that drawings, you know, they don't just like, if you draw someone's like head floating in space, that's cool, but if you attach it to a neck and some shoulders, it's even cooler because then it has context. So here we go. When you draw in 2-point perspective, you start with an edge. That's my edge, okay? There's someone out there saying, Mr. Seidel, that's a line. You're correct too. But remember, it's all about context, okay? So within the context of a 2-point drawing, I'm not even going to write it out. This is our edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rays that converge towards the vanishing point. They go from edge to vanishing point. So I missed. That's okay. I would rather miss with a straight line than hit with a curved line, and I hope that you guys feel that way too. Missing with a straight line is fixable. Hitting the point you were going for with a curved line is not. So I know that I'm a little rusty. I'm going to ghost this line a few more times so that I can get it right. All right. These lines, you know, to the untrained eye look pretty darn close to parallel, and that's okay. All right. But eventually, if you were to follow both of them, because they are straight lines, at some point, maybe here, maybe on my floor, they would hit. Other side. What I'm going to do is, instead of picking it up off of here, I'm going to work with my mistake, and I'm going to go right this way. Get a nice straight line. And then from here, all right. Again, these are just lines, but what we now have are 2 theoretical planes that just go on forever. So let's shorten them up with some, or not shorten them up, tell our viewer where they end. with some vertical lines. So we're going to pick this line up and vertical line right here. All right, let's pick this line up. Let's pick it right here. Now I could have put them all the way out here. I could have put them all the way out here. I could put them all the way in here. Where you put the vertical line is up to you. Okay, you're the artist. You're making a choice, and hopefully it's an informed choice. Now I'm gonna, from this point here, this is a special point, I'm going to start to create the bottom of the box, and this is the jump. Okay, everything we've done up until here, like if you were drawing a plane in space, like these are the same steps as 1 point perspective. Okay, this plane only uses this vanishing point, and this plane only uses this vanishing point. So if you get 1 point perspective and you're strong with it, but then this is the part that you're having trouble, that's okay, because this is where we're building on what we already know. So I'm going to take this point and I'm going to have it go all the way like that, and it is this is working with this vanishing point. This guy over here, and this is the magic. Get ready for this magic moment. This is going to go out to this vanishing point or around it. And what this does is it tells us if this plane and this plane intersected along this edge, this, and it was a form, this is what the bottom plane would look like. From here, I can draw out, and then from here I can draw over, and then here, and look at that. Now I have all 6 planes, and it's a lot of information. It's probably very confusing because it's, you know, these aren't, this is an exercise, it's not a finished drawing. Once you have one of these wireframes, I think one of the best things you can do is add a light source, because light really helps people understand what's going on. But I could go over and define the lines that are near to the viewer, the ones that the viewer should be looking at. But it's like, I don't know, it's also okay not to. If you have really good lines, it's going to work out. But here is my 3-point perspective, 2-point perspective. Don't tell anyone I made that mistake. That never happened. This is our 2-point perspective box. So I have 1, 2, 3 planes you can see, and then there's 3 in the back that you can't see. So what do we do with this? What we're going to do is, I want you, and I'm going to bring the number down. So I'm hoping that if I reduce the quantity, we can improve the quality, because I'm looking at this video and I'm seeing that we're at the 11-minute mark. So maybe we'll work a little longer another day when I don't talk so much. But what I want you to do is I want you to set an edge, I want you to set 2 vanishing points, and I want you to very carefully start to fill it in and draw a 2-point perspective cube. And I want you to draw through the cube. So yeah, these are the 2 planes we'd see, but please, please, please don't just stop there. Also draw the planes that we wouldn't see, because I don't know, I'm not, you know, I'm a pretty open-minded guy, but this is really, you got to draw through to be able to get better. So what we have here are my 6 planes working together to make 1 box. So again, I knocked it down. I only want 5 boxes because 5 boxes is actually 30 planes. And that's a lot. That's a lot of work. And I'd rather have you do 5 really super duper well to the best of your ability than I would have you do 100 that are like, I don't know, it's like, but if you can maintain that focus, that same focus for 5 and do 100, I mean, obviously you probably have to take a few breaks. I would say go for it. It's art is one of those things where it's, if you want to be good at it, it's there for you. So there's my other box. Notice on this one, and this is going to happen, because my box was located there. These are my 2 vanishing points. So here is my horizon line. If your box is ever located on the horizon line, you won't see a bottom plane or a top plane. If your box is below the horizon line, you will see the top plane. So, like I said, 5 2-point perspective boxes, pretty please, and then submit, and we're good. So, I hope you guys had some fun in the sun last weekend. I know I did. I got a little bit of a sunburn going. But thanks again for checking in, and I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday.